question.
I don't know what was happening at the time, so I think we were just having
Do you remember the event?
No, I don't. We're probably here for some performance, yeah.
Yeah. So, you come across as this really humble, down-to-earth, nice guy. I'm sure you were a good student at Kharagpur. But I'm sure there was another side to you as well, right? There is to every IITian. Did you ever bunk classes at IIT? The morning classes? I mean.
Of course, I think it's the rite of passage of going through college. I had, I have to say I worked hard, but we did have our share of fun as well.
Did you get ragged?
It was pretty mellow. I definitely remember, when I started, hopefully it has gotten better by now. But we had a few things. I don't know whether you still have. At the time we used to have something called a CG change. I don't know whether you guys still do. It stands for center of gravity change. So you as a freshman, you lock your room and you go out and you come back. And the room doors aren't open, but everything inside your room has been rearranged.
Wow.
And they do it by putting sticks in and all your clothes. They've rearranged even the furniture. So it's quite a shock when you open your room door and you walk back in to see your entire room has been rearranged. So
that must have been crazy. I mean, as a freshman.
Yeah, it was quite an experience. I don't think that was as bad as maybe a couple of weeks into being here. I came from South. I came from Chennai. I'd learned Hindi in school, but I never spoke it much. Just listening to how people were speaking, I just thought you address people this way. So one day there was someone in the mess, and I had to call him. I called him Abe Saleh. That's how. In my first couple of weeks, I thought you call people that way. And next thing I know, the folks in the mess were quite upset, and I think they temporarily closed down the mess.
Oh wow!
So I wasn't very popular for that day. So
you were responsible for the mess shutting down at IIT?
Just for a moment, yeah, just for a moment.
You met Anjali at IIT Kharagpur?
Yeah, Anjali is my wife. She was my classmate. She lived in. Do you still have? I hope you still have SN Hall. And it was the only girls' hostel then, and I hope there are a few more now. And it wasn't always easy if you had to go get someone at the girls' hostel, you had to walk in the front and request someone there to go call them. And so they would go in and loudly say, Anjali, Sundar is here for you. So it wasn't exactly a pleasant experience, but
Does it still work like that, or you guys use technology?
I guess it's moved on by now.
Yeah. So, when we were on campus, there was no Google, and there was no internet. Mm-hmm. So how have things changed? You've come here after a long time. Do you see a difference between then and now?
Of course, I come to India regularly, and the rate at Rajan spoke about it. The rate at which things are progressing, at least digitally, has been phenomenal, and you see it. You see it in every way. Of course, we didn't have phones there. I remember waiting for a long time to get the first rotary phone in our home, and it was a long wait to get that. Didn't have access to computers growing up. Saw the first computer here for a little bit.
We had to book time at the computer center.
Book time, carry floppy disks.
And floppy disks,
It's a very different world. So, clearly the progress has been phenomenal. Mobile is an amazing revolution for India. You have over 300 million smartphones. So you see the change, palpably, across everything I interact with. Though I have to say, walking into Nehru Hall, looking at my dorm, it still looks exactly the same as it did 25 years ago. So some things don't change, which is for the good, I guess.
Right. As you know, we have so many students here, and we ask them to send their questions, and we got about 1,200 of them. So we've chosen a few, for you to answer. So if we can move to the first student, Sheikh Muhammad Samir, can we have your question, please? Yeah, over there in that corner. Sheikh
Morning,
Mohammed
sir.
Samir.
You must have sit here, so you know how glad we all are about you. Every student is anxious about your replies, and professors are happy that a student of theirs is in such a position. I want to ask, like, every student aspires to be in a respectable position. So when did you feel that you reached a checkpoint? Like, when did you feel, yeah, I'm going to change from an alumnus to a distinguished alumnus?
I don't get to make that decision. I think it's a decision by the faculty here. I think I always approached it as I look to do something I really like doing. I'd always wanted to build products, and in my life, getting access to computing made a big difference. And so I've always wanted to work on computing, build computing products which could reach many users. And that's what I've been focused on. And so I think it's an end result of that. So.
Okay, can we have another question from Chiranjeev Singh Rathore? Yeah, over there.
Hi, sir. Sir, my question was, like, we are students and you are very humble, but there must be some crazy things you've done when you were in campus. So any of those memories?
What was the craziest thing you did at IIT Kharagpur?
You mean crazier than calling somebody Abe Saleh in the gym? I think I had my share of all the experiences which all of you go through. Staying late in the nights and missing classes in the morning. But overall, we had a very good group of folks. Living in a campus like this, you come away from home far away for the first time, and my best memories are with my wingmates. You develop close friendships, and visiting this trip in Bangalore, I got to see a few of my old Kharagpur classmates. So good memories.
Oh, wow. So shifting gears a bit, 10 years after you left IIT, you joined Google. It was 2004 or 5?
2004. Yeah.
And 10 years later, you were running Google, the world's most innovative technology company, right? The Google products just grow on you. Google Search, YouTube, Android, Maps. What is it that drives innovation at Google?
I think we've always had an ambitious approach to it. We call it internally as 10x or moonshots. We try to work on things which, the criteria we think is we want to work on things which people will use every day. Mm-hmm. It will apply to billions of people, and it solves a real problem for them. So that's the bar. So anything we try to do, we think of it that way. And so we aim high. We try to use deep computer science to anything we approach so that we can have a differentiated approach to solving it. And you want to aim high enough that you fail, a few times. I think that's the natural part of the process. In fact, Larry used to say, if you work on really difficult things, you're better off because you have no competition. Others aren't working on that difficult a problem. And even if you fail, you end up doing something great in the process. And so I think that's the philosophy which has guided us all through these years.
So you don't touch anything which is not relevant for at least 1 billion users.
We think, if the product is successful, that everyone should be able to use it. It applies to everyone. And, Maps is a good example of it. If you think about it, understanding the world around you is a real human need. It applies to everyone. So we tend to focus on those kinds of problems, and that's what drives this.
Yeah, you've been talking lately a lot about machine learning and AI. AI was talked about even 25 years ago when I was at IIT and when you were at IIT. What has changed in the last 2 or 3 years? Why has AI become suddenly, and machine learning suddenly become the new buzzword?
I think the biggest advances you're seeing is largely due to two things. The techniques which we use in deep learning, deep neural networks, have been around for many years. But early on, they weren't that effective because you just didn't have the computational power to run these algorithms. Just for the past many years, the computational power has dramatically increased. So when you run deep learning on the latest computation, and with access to better data, you get dramatic breakthroughs. So for example, we recently launched Google Translate, and this is machine translation. And using our deep learning systems, the translation quality improvements just in the last year is bigger than what we've seen in the past 10 years cumulatively.
Wow, wow.
So it tells us that the ability for computers to do these kinds of tasks, be it image recognition, speech recognition, voice recognition, it's really hitting a tipping point. So I think we are definitely in a point of inflection, and we are investing a lot as a company here. And I can't wait to get these benefits to as many users as possible. I think it'll really drive the next wave of computing.
Excellent. You were in Bangalore. You met startups in Bangalore. And I heard you say that there's nothing really missing as far as startups in India go. They are as good as startups elsewhere in the world.